Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about The Nightmare Room. So, this show came out in 2001. That was 24 years ago. And it's actually an anthology series created by R.L. Stine himself. He wrote the series of books back in the day. And after the success of Goosebumps, both the books and the television shows, after a while, Goosebumps started to kind of like dwindle and everything. Now, I'm not quite sure what year he wrote The Nightmare Room, but like after the Goosebumps television show, television networks were keen to get like another R.L. Stine show. And so they created The Nightmare Room, and this came out on the WB. Now, the books, supposedly there was only 12 books written. At least that's what like Google said. But when I looked on Wikipedia, there tends to be a few more. And so The Nightmare Room was completely different from that of Goosebumps, where Goosebumps more centered around for like little kids and stuff. This was more for like preteens and teens, slightly bit more mature. I'm talking about the television show, not the books. And like the television show had more of a kind of like a psychological feel to it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But like they still deal with like, monster movies, movie monsters. That's it. Can you get my words out? It's a little chilly now, man. Like fall's coming, like you feeling that fall air now. Like I'm like a little like cold and everything, and couldn't get my words out. So it deals with like movie monsters and stuff, but the show doesn't really show them all that much. The show, in my opinion, the show was pretty good. It wasn't great like Goosebumps, and it wasn't as eerie as The Haunting Hour. But I will say it was a bit better than like the Disney Plus, like R.L. Stine Beyond show and the Disney Plus Goosebumps show. But there was always something weird about this show. Like, see, here's the thing, right? Back in 2001, when this show came back out on Kids WB, which by the way, this was like it was one of two live action series ever to be shown on Kids WB. This was one of them. And I never, ever, ever knew about this show because it lasted from 2001 to 2002. Yes, I had cable back then, but like I wasn't really glued really to Kids WB. Like whenever I did turn to them, it was mostly just to watch like the live action stuff at night or reruns of like Tiny Toons or like something like that, or Animaniacs. I never ever never knew this show existed. It completely flew past me and everything. And I'm really shocked and surprised I didn't know about this show because I was a huge Goosebumps fan and everything. And it just boggles my mind. I never knew about this show. And I kind of forgot how I found this show out. I found this show about 15 years ago, and I found it on YouTube because somebody had posted every episode individually. Whoever that channel was has now been deleted. However, there's another show or another channel called Aaron Carson, and they have all the episodes, but they did it in like an hour format. Why? Because of the DVDs. See, the show came out on VHS and also DVD, but they put 2 volumes out and only a couple of episodes. They never put like all the episodes. What Aaron did was that he uploaded both the DVDs, then he uploaded episodes that were never on the DVD. However, You can actually find every episode on Tubi. Yes, they finally put it on Tubi just this month. And that's why I just rewatched it and everything. But like 15 years ago, like I watched the episodes on YouTube, right? And I'm not sure if it's because I was reading up on R.L. Stine on Wikipedia, or I just so happened to find it on like YouTube because around that time I was looking for new horror stuff to watch. And so when I watched this series, I was ecstatic. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? Another R.L. Stine show that I've never seen before. That's awesome. Because, I was just coming off of the Haunting Hour and stuff. And this was also before the Goosebumps movies. So I was really thrilled to like want to watch this show. And one of the things that blew my mind is, unlike R.L. Stine's other shows that are filmed in Canada, this one appears to be filmed in America. And not only that, but my God, the star power is massive in this show. Rewatching this, even back like 15 years ago, it blows my mind at all the stars I recognize and stuff. With Goosebumps, the thing about that, since it was filmed in Canada, they utilized a bunch of up and coming like Canadian kid stars and teen stars. A few of them have made it big still in Hollywood, while the rest have just like disappeared. And for the most part, like Goosebumps was just a one and done thing for most of those stars. So they never really had star power backing them. In the Haunting Hour, it was kind of like a mashup. You had like Canadian stars along with that of new up and coming younger American stars. Stars like I can't think of that. I think it's Madison Petrus or something like that. From the Sweet Life of, not Sweet Life, but what's that show called? Corey in the House. And you had like the dude from the Goldbergs, the younger main star of that show. You had like 3 stars from Modern Family and everything. So you had like, oh, Bailey Madison was also on that show. So you had like a couple of people from both Canada and like America, right? If you watch those shows around that time. But when it came to like the Nightmare Room, like this was like a Disney Nickelodeon fever dream you was having and everything, man. There were so many like former Disney Channel show characters, not characters. I can't talk. Look, it's cold. There were so many former Disney Channel stars from back in the early 2000s that was on here. And Nickelodeon stars. And not only that, but other stars that was like on other big name shows. Like this one girl who had like her own like ABC show. This one actress who was on Passions and stuff. Then there is the adult star power on there. They got David Carradine. They got Freddy Krueger himself. The mom from like Boy Meets World. WCW wrestler Sting when he was doing his crow look and everything. Like I could not believe all the people they had in this show, like the Cuoco sisters and everything. Like I couldn't believe Kaylee Cuoco and her sister was in this. Danielle Fisher, she did like a cameo in one of the episodes from Boy Meets World. They had 3 stars from like even Stevens and even a young what's her name from Wendy Wu and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Brenda Song. She was in this before she ever landed that Zack and Cody role. Not to mention the Sprouse twins. Zack and Cody themselves were just little kids in this thing. Like that is just insane. They have 2 of the Smallville stars in this show, like before they was even in Smallville. I think they got cast in Smallville, like maybe actually in 2001. I think that's when the show came out and everything. Sadly, however, both these stars have become criminals now. And yeah, one I think like sold drugs and or tried to cross like state lines with drugs or something like that, and the other, she was in a weird cult where they branded her name on other people, and yeah. And of course, notorious like bad boy Disney Channel star Shia LaBeouf. That criminal is on here too, man. Like, I'm so disappointed in this man. Like, he was one of my favorite Disney Channel stars, and he messed up so much in life. But then he started to turn his life around until his last thing he got in trouble with. And I just can't excuse that. Sexual abuse? Nah, I can't excuse that. Then they had Nickelodeon stars like Amanda Bynes and like Drake Bell. And it's insane who they had on this show, man. Like that one dude, I can't remember. He was in one of those Wayans family shows where he played the son, and I can't remember the name of that show. They had the black dude from like Veronica Mars. Dude had a cameo. Dude just had a cameo. That's it. The dude from Veronica Mars just literally had a cameo. I don't get that. Then they had this actress, and what's insane about her, right? She was 28 years old playing a teenager in this show. And you really couldn't tell at first until after a while when you start looking at it, you just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, there's something a little bit older about your appearance. But you know, that's what happens when you're youthful and you're short. So like out of all the R.L. Stine like shows and movies and stuff, except for probably like Jack Black, this thing had a lot of star power to it. Like all these up and coming like, you know, teen stars and everything, they was in this show. And you know, that didn't save the show. Now, why exactly did the show only last one season? There's never been an actual answer as to why this show got canceled. Like before, like well, actually, this was the first R.L. Stine show to only last a season before Just Beyond. And then, of course, there's Fear Street, the television series that never made it past the unaired pilot. But you can actually find the unaired pilot on Aaron Carson's like YouTube page. But he has it titled Goosebumps Pilot, which is not Goosebumps, it's Fear Street. But I've already reviewed the Fear Street show and stuff like that about years ago. But why exactly did this show get canceled? Well, like I said before, never been a real answer. But I think it could be probably a combination of maybe two things. One, I've briefly talked about this show. It's not my favorite, but it's like my third favorite R.L. Stine television show. I can't count Fear Street because it never went past the unaired pilot. But like, it's better than like Just Beyond and Disney Plus Goosebumps, and better than that MTV I think it's called Eye Candy. I never finished Eye Candy. I just could not get past it. Victoria Justice is in that. And so, in my opinion, when it comes to this show, it is pretty good. Like, but there's a problem that I had with this show. Episodes will start off really, really good, and then some of them but tend to end a little oddly. Or some of the episodes was just kind of like the fear game one. I did not like that whatsoever. I just could not get into that. The ending was horrible. Like, there's only a few of them I actually love. Camp Nowhere, Four Eyes, School Spirits are like my top three and everything. Some of the other one, like Careful What You Wish For, that was pretty good, but like the Forget Me house or whatever, but Amanda Bynes was okay, but weird and everything. The Howler was pretty cool as well, but it didn't have that Goosebumps feel. They really didn't do the monster route that much. Like I said before, it's more like a psychological kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, the thing that goes bump in the night will show up, but it was never really scary. Like that Halloween episode was just really flat and boring. And then the wolf at the end just looked atrocious and everything. You could tell it was a person wearing a mask. So maybe like a lot of fans just didn't like this because they compared it to Goosebumps and like it just wasn't on that Goosebumps level. Or maybe it could be because, well, since this is based on the books, and technically there are around 12-ish books and everything, it makes sense as to why this only lasted for 13 episodes. One episode being a two-parter. So technically it's really only like 12. But like I said before, this is what's really weird. When you go down the book list on the Wikipedia page, there are some that are missing. Now, there are some episodes that have been renamed. And then there are some episodes from books that just never got adapted. And then there are certain episodes where they change people's names around or they change the entire plot or the outcome. Like the Camp Nowhere thing. When you read the description, it seems to deal with actual ghosts and everything. But in the episode, it's like a Native American curse that swept these people up and put them in a void to where they're like in like complete nowhere. And then all of a sudden, for 2 days out of a year, they get to go outside and play. And it's just kind of like, that's not what the description says, like, on Wikipedia for the book and everything. So similar to Goosebumps, they do rework things a little bit, but not that much. Or maybe a lot. Heck, I don't know. And so because there was only like 12-ish books and it was based on that show, maybe they're all like, hey, just don't go past the books and everything. But, there were times in Goosebumps they created their own episodes, and same thing with the Haunting Hours. So if this show was popular enough, you would assume they would have just created their own stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Or probably pulled from like some of R.L. Stine's other books and everything. So who really knows, Like the episode Tangled Web, where the guy lies a lot. The book is based off of is actually called Liar Liar. And so I'm not really sure. When it comes to that of Fear Games, that's actually a trilogy. And there are 3 books on that. But in the episode, it's only 1. And the episode is so boring. The description in the book sounds a heck of a lot more. The book called Visitors is actually called Four Eyes. And let's see, the episode called like Scare School, that does not appear in like the episodes whatsoever. Then there's one called Shadow Girl in the books, and like that's never like appears in like the show. And there's one called like They Call Me Creature, and that never appeared either. But all the other ones of the books, seem to be like spot on as opposed to what appeared in like the show. Now, the thing I love the most about this show was the intro. This is the best intro I've ever seen to an R.L. Stine property. Like, The Haunting Hour was eerie. Goosebumps was just like awesome. But this thing is spine tingling. They really amped up the fear level in this intro. It's a little boy in bed. He's like tossing back and forth. You see imagery from like the shows, but the scary stuff, and it's just awesome. And while all this is going on, you hear like a man wailing in the background. The music is spine tingling, but the best part of it all is none other than R.L. Stine narrating the intro. But the thing is, it's not R.L. Stine. Now, in the intro, there's a man typing on the computer, and this man is led to believe to be R.L. Stine, similar to Goosebumps when R.L. Stine was walking in the grass, opened his briefcase, and let all the goosebumps flow out, played by like a completely different actor who we never got to see his face. It's similar to here, but you can see the man on the right, not the one on the left, the man on the right is R.L. Stine on the computer. But you never get a good glimpse of his face. Now, the man on the left, if you know who he is, then you know who he is. None other than James Avery, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. May that man rest in peace. He is the voice of R.L. Stine, and boy, what a voice he has. I love watching the intro and I love watching the very end of the episode because he narrates the intro and it is creepy, but then he narrates the ending as to what happened at the outcome of the episode. And sometime in the later episodes, he gets very aggressive. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Now, sadly, he is not the only person to pass away who was in this show. There is a number of people who have passed away, mostly older actors who was in this show. And also, oh, I forgot to mention, in terms of star power, that dude from the lead actor from The Jersey, the Disney Channel show. Yeah, sadly, all these people passed away and may they all rest in peace. However, there's some more bad news and everything. Danielle Fishel, who's on the right from Boy Meets World, who had a cameo, and Lindsay Felton, who was in the Fear Game episode, who had her own ABC show. Sadly, these two came down with breast cancer. And they both are still currently fighting it right now. Lindsay is currently not acting, but is documenting her cancer battle on Instagram, and it's a side boob picture where it's like a giant scar and a band-aid because they had to cut something out, and she's talking about like how painful it is. And then Danielle Fishel, she is currently on Dancing with the Stars. And it's so sad that these two, like, have to go through this. And, best wishes to them because cancer is one of the worst. So, yeah, there was always something about, like, this show that always left me hanging. Like, I never felt like it was scary enough. I never felt like it was creepy enough. Sometimes the outcome is really odd, like the twist and everything. And it was just kind of like, that's what it led up to. And I don't know, it was just, they had to have deviated from the books, I'm assuming, because this just wasn't cutting it for me when I watched it at the time. I've grown to like a couple of episodes a bit more now, but like, don't know, man. It's just like some episodes, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just don't do it for me. They just really don't. Like, the Locker 13 was really boring. But then, like I said before, there are some episodes I really, really loved. And because of that, this is why I've never reviewed any of the episodes individually and everything, like I did with the Haunting Hour and that of Goosebumps. So this is why I decided just to combine all this stuff into like one video. So I'm going to go over very quickly what some of the episodes were about and whether or not I liked it or not, or things I did like about it and things, I didn't and stuff. So I'm going to go by the episode order on Wikipedia, which I think might be slightly different than that on Tubi. Man, thank God for Tubi. There's only one person I know who doesn't like Tubi because they don't trust it. But I don't care what she says. I love Tubi. Free stuff? Come on now. You just need an internet connection. Okay, the first episode, Don't Forget Me, which has Amanda Bynes in it. This was back on her, like when she was doing the Amanda show. And so she plays a girl named Danielle, and her family's in this house. And then all of a sudden, like, there's something special about this house. There's like a crack in like the floor, the basement, and it starts glowing. This gooey stuff starts to come out. And then all of a sudden, her brother gets like taken by the goo. And then all of a sudden, people start to forget him, and she starts to forget him, and people are starting to like forget her. It's called the Forget Me House and everything. Then all of a sudden there's this older man who is like, lurking and following her and scaring the crap out of her. And so like when she's trying to get like, because the thing is, she took a picture frame that had her brother and stuff in there because it broke, and then she tossed it in the garbage can. And so it made me start to think, okay, did the boy start to disappear because she threw the thing in the picture frame and forgot? Or is it the goo? Or like, is it the house? Like, what exactly is it? Her parents don't even recognize her. But she goes in the garbage can, shows them the picture frame, and then they go in the basement, and the man tells her, it's the Forget Me house, and I was down there, but I crawled out, and nobody remembers me, and, I live like, I guess he lives like outside or something like that, or maybe by himself. And then so she begs the Forgive Me house to give her brother back, and he comes out in the kind of glowy. Okay, some of the special effects suck in this show. That's another reason why I don't really like it. And so, like, the brother is safe, but he has goo all on him. But then the old man's all like, I want to be forgotten again because the world sucks and nobody's here for me. And he jumps back in the hole and he turns back into a kid, and then he just sinks down in the hole. They move out and a new family moves in. It's a very odd episode that could have been good, but the writing just wasn't strong enough. Also, some of the people who act in this show in general, where some people can really act, sometimes their acting's a bit off on this show for some bizarre reason. Careful what you wish for. So this is the Shia LaBeouf episode. And so basically, what is it? So he's in this episode, and so is the little brother from Moesha, and so is the love interest from Malcolm in the Middle. Speaking of which, there are 3 Malcolm in the Middle stars in this show. So the little girl, the love interest, she's in this. And so he's friends with a dude from like Moesha, and the dude from Moesha can't have nothing with strawberries in it because he's allergic. So also the mom from Boy Meets World. So when he's at school, all of a sudden a little boy in overall starts being all like, you're my best friend, let's play. And the boy just keeps appearing out of like nowhere, which is freaking out the Shia LaBeouf character. And every time he keeps telling people, hey, about this kid, nobody wants to believe him, like his mom. But then, like, all of a sudden, bad stuff starts to happen to his friends. Somebody put peanut butter, like strawberry jelly in his sandwich and caused him to be sick. When his friends was the girl was on a ladder painting, I think somebody like pushed the ladder or something, and this boy keeps appearing. All of a sudden, when he's at his home, he recognizes this little boy as like his buddy doll. Man, I remember those buddy dolls. I love that thing. And so he starts whacking the doll around and all this other stuff, going crazy. The mom like makes him talk to like a counselor. Then all of a sudden, here comes the little like, boy again. His arms all screwed up because Shia LaBeouf character whacked the crap out of it. And so basically, he's all, and the boy starts to get mad, like, oh, you got new friends now and all this other crap. So in a way, at the end, when the mom starts to watch videos of her son when he was at his birthday party at like 6, the magician's all like, oh, you love this doll, don't you? Well, I'm gonna make it come to life. And he did a little spell. And of course, back in those days, you would just assume, okay, the magician's just like doing a spell, a pretend little spell, right? But no, he was actually doing a real one. And so the boy, the doll really did come to life as a boy and wanted to be his best friend because that's what the little Shia LaBeouf character wanted. The mom freaks out and runs to go see her son. And then all of a sudden, the Shia LaBeouf character turns into a doll. This was actually a pretty cool episode, and it was one of my favorites, not my top, but it was like a pretty good one and everything. The Howler. So one of the dudes from New Jersey, and I think her name is Carla, who played Fee from So Weird. Both two Disney Channel shows were in this. So it's a group of friends, and Robert Englund, who is Freddy Krueger, is their teacher. And so one of the boys, he finds a box called a Howler, and he starts playing it. But then all of a sudden, this weird electrical force comes out, bad CGI, and hits like I think like maybe like the girl or something. And all of a sudden, or it hits one of them, and all of a sudden they start talking in weird slang, saying the word sweet and all this other stuff. I think it hits her. Now, like, when did you start saying things like that? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out there are two ghosts in the Howler, two teenage boys. So when you turn the device on and you get hit by the lightning, it like turns you and everything. In order to free both his friends, he has to destroy the box. But the box decides to come back alive, and then the janitor starts playing with the box, and one of the boys goes inside the janitor. It's a pretty eerie episode, and it's a pretty cool one, and I like it. The acting's pretty cool and everything. It's an interesting twist with like kids stuck in like a box. It reminds me of the R.L. Stine episode, like the barking ghost or something like that, with two dogs like have like two ghosts inside, and then they transfer their ghost form into like kids because of that tree or something like that. But I like that a whole lot better than the barking ghost one. I hated that barking ghost episode. Tangle Web. So this has the brother, the middle child from Malcolm in the Middle, or at least the second oldest. And this is the one with like David Carradine and Katie Cuoco's sister, and like and Sting of all people. So basically, it's this boy who's a pathological liar, and he lies and lies and lies. He just can't stop lying, and it's funny when he tells a lie. Like, it just cracks me up. But then all of a sudden, his lies start to come true. And he lied about some of the most outrageous stuff, like an older brother who's in the military, who's very aggressive, two ninjas who like broke into the house, two clowns, killer clowns that broke into the house, and Sting of all of all people. And they start going after him and stuff. Basically, it ends in the weirdest way. He's now an adult, a teacher of his own, or a substitute teacher, and one of his students is lying. He knows exactly what's going to happen. If you lie, it will come the truth. It's a weird episode. It's just cool because of all like the cameos and stuff. Fear Games with Lindsay Felton and also Eric Ty Hodges from Even Stevens, who played Larry. There's also a couple of other people in here. I think the host of Survivors in this thing. The older brother from the first Final Destination movie who was on the plane and stayed on the plane. And an actress who was in Passions. And I'm not sure what this other girl was in. But like, it's a really weird, stupid episode where there's a bunch of kids who are teens who audition for a reality show. And so it's kind of like Fear Factor, where they have to do all these like obstacles and everything, and all these games. And the Lindsay character, she's the most honest of them all and keeps like finding stuff. And there was this one thing that's supposed to trick them to where like, okay, this person had a scavenger hunt. That's like the host had a scavenger hunt. And so he will leave bags with all the stuff in there that they have to find, wandering all around like the little island and everything. Everybody found the bags, and she was the only one who admitted to finding the bag while the other ones lied. So she's trustworthy, and that's what they like. Now, supposedly she thought a witch was on this island, and one appears, but it's actually an actress. And so, because of her bravery and her honesty, they like her a lot, and she wins the game. But then all of a sudden, the guy who brought them there on the boat, a hand just comes out of the ground and grabs him. Makes absolutely no sense. The book sounds a heck of a lot better with an actual witch there. School spirits. So this one was really, really cool in my opinion. This one has the actress who was like 28 playing a teenager. So it's a group of friends. And what's cool about this group of friends, they reappear in another episode, playing the exact same characters, but a completely different scenario. But I like this one a whole lot better than the other. So they have the tension, and then all of a sudden, their teacher starts to tell them some weird stuff or some stuff about being better kids or some crap like that. When they start to leave, all of a sudden, bad, freaky stuff starts to happen and they start disappearing one by one. The main character, played by Kaiko or Kiko or something like that, right before everybody started disappearing, they found like a picture of their teacher who's been dead for over 5 years. They don't understand how the dude's ghost is still here in purgatory, so he must want something before he can leave. So they start to think, what could he want? Well, it turns out they've all screwed this dude over in some kind of way, or their parents have. So they start listing them one by one. But apparently she did the worst one of them all, or at least her parent did, or something like that. And so after, like, I guess like she apologizes or gives back the thing that he wants the most, he starts to let her friends go, but they have no memory of being captured. It's a really cool, fascinating episode with like their teacher who's been dead for the longest time, and he's pissed off at them and everything. He even does that whole ring thing where he comes out the television, but they don't have the budget to make it look as cool as the ring with Samara and everything, but it's still cool nevertheless. Full Moon Halloween is the episode that ties in to the last episode with the same group of kids. This time there's been like reports of people getting attacked by something, mauled by some kind of wild animal. And so the one dude, played by Greg O'Gore the second, he has like this house that he turned into like a haunted house for his friends to go into and have fun. And so, but he trapped them there. And he trapped them there because he tells them that he thinks it's a werewolf that's been attacking people, and it attacked his little brother. And he assumes that one of them is the werewolf. And the reason being is because like he tested all the kids and teachers at school except for them. So it's like, whoa, who's the werewolf? You know what I'm saying? So he has this little creatures that look like tribbles from Star Trek. And these creatures do not like werewolves. So he starts, the rest of them got like away, but he has one. He starts passing them around one by one, and it bit the girl. And so they assume she's a werewolf until one of the boys reads the package and he's all like, if these animals are left out for 20 minutes, they start to eat people. So they assume that's why it bit her. So 20 minutes is about to pass, so they have to go and capture them all. Once they do, they're able to finally free themselves from the building. But then all of a sudden, the girl that got bit is still in the house. When he finds her, she turns around and she's a werewolf, and you can clearly tell she's wearing a mask. It's an okay episode. The acting's a little off with Greg's character for some bizarre reason. It's weird. Him and Amanda Bynes, their acting was off in this show. And so, like, and normally it's not. So I don't understand what was going on with them. But it's just kind of like, oh, it's a weird tribal type episode, and the werewolf just looks lame. Four Eyes is a really cool episode. So the dude's at the eye doctor, he gets some glasses, and his friend, the redhead girl, she's from, I forgot the name of this show. It used to be on Fox. Really cool show. But anyway, So he has glasses now, and every time he looks at people or certain people, they have these monstrous looking faces, and it freaks him out. He doesn't understand why all of a sudden some people look like monsters and stuff. And it's to the point where he really doesn't want to wear his glasses. When he goes to school, he's freaking out. The principal looks like a monster. Some of the kids look like monsters. He's just freaking out. And so when he leaves school, I think to go back to the eye doctor finds him and tells him, hey, look, man, like these glasses you have, they're special. They are able to detect aliens because it's an alien invasion and everything. And so he's all like, trust nobody and blah, blah, blah. And you'll be able to tell their leader because the leader has pitch black eyes. And so then all of a sudden the police come and take him. The police are like, this man is crazy. But the dude puts the glasses on, and all of a sudden the police officers are actually aliens. So he goes to his school dance to try to find like the leader and try to like, get help and everything. But there's tons of aliens at the school dance. Then all of a sudden they realize he's able to see them, so they start going after him. And as he's running outside, his friend and his friend's mom rescue him. But then he can see through the glasses, they're both aliens, and his friend has pitch black eyes with a little bit of red pupils and stuff. So she's like the leader. This was a cool episode. Reminds me of the Creeper episode from Goosebumps. Who doesn't like a nice alien invasion where they look human? Locker 13. I don't understand this episode. So this boy had, I guess, like a lucky locker, and he finds, I guess, he has some kind of like rabbit's foot. It turns into like a coin. Then all of a sudden this like man dressed in black tells him, everything good comes your way, but there's a price for everybody else, and we have to take your soul. And so he puts the medallion thing inside the frog, and so the frog's gonna die anyway because they're gonna dissect it, and he's free from the curse. I don't understand this episode at all. I do not like it. Dear Diary, I'm dead. So this has to do with Drake Bell, AJ Trough, and Brenda Song and everything. And also the dude cameo from what is that called? Veronica Mars. So man, Brenda Song, she looks really like a little different in this. Her eyes look more Asian. I think she might have had surgery. Now, technically, she did have surgery to make her eyes better, because she couldn't see that well. But I think she did something else. I think she got her eyelids like that, the eyelid surgery or something. But I don't know. But I like Brenda Song. You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't like her? So anyway, Drake Bell's character, his mom gives him like a desk, and inside the desk is a diary. And inside the diary, it tells the future of like the next day. Something's going to happen and something bad is going to happen. So bad stuff starts to happen. Like, he starts to freak out. And so I think also good and bad stuff, but mostly bad stuff. And so like his friend, played by Brenda, she steals the diary. He's trying to get it back. And he's trying to prevent it because somebody is supposed to literally die. And so he prevents her from getting like electrocuted or something, or burnt or something like that. But then it's all like, you're gonna die. And he's all like, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. And she's like, no, you just opened the book. So that thing, that premonition's like meant for you. So something happens and he eventually does die. But I think he gets electrocuted or something like that. And so and it's like a really funny thing when he's in a casket, but it's like a dream sequence, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, when he dies, that must be it, like he's gone. But no, we see him and his friends go back to his room where he finds out his mom gave him this old desk, and he refines the diary. Apparently the catch is he's stuck in a time loop. Because he died, his life can't go forward, so he's repeating the same things over and over and over again, re-dying over and over and over again. That's a pretty crazy twist, but I wanted something a little bit more. But hey, that's pretty good, you know what I'm saying? My name is Evil. Kaylee Cuoco was in this, and so is Beth Broderick, who played one of the aunts in Sabrina Teenage Witch. So basically, there's this boy. He has a group of friends, and he likes Kaylee Cuoco's character. And so she kisses him on the cheek, but then she starts to make him jealous by liking his friend. All of a sudden, when he goes to the fortune teller, something happens and the crystal ball like explodes. The boys run out, freaked out. But then all of a sudden, the dude has like a rash on like his arm. Every time he scratches it, something bad tends to like happen around him. And when his friend fell down the steps, Kaylee Cuoco's character is all like, he pushed him and everything. He's like, no, it's not me. But then all of a sudden, other weird stuff starts to happen around him. And whenever he scratches like his arm, so he goes back to the fortune teller, like, you put a curse on me and blah, blah, blah. She takes off her mask to reveal herself to be Beth. And then he scratches his arm again, and then the crystal ball really explodes this time when it was just a trick last time. But then when he's back at school, Kaylee Cuoco's character sits with him and she's all like, she's like the queen bee. She's all like, I can make your life enjoyable or miserable and everything. I have power because she's a hot girl. And so she lied on him saying that he pushed that boy. And just so everybody can hate him, she's like, see the kind of power I have? Not real magical power, but like teen, like mean girl power, queen bee power and everything. And he's all like, it must be you. You must be like the witch. Because every time something bad happens, you're always around. So he starts saying that louder so people assume it's her. She gets pissed off and pretty much badmouths the entire school. Then, in the craziest twist ever, it turns out it really was him. His rash is some type of curse, and when he scratches it, bad paranormal stuff starts to happen. A crazy twist within itself. Camp Nowhere is a two-parter, and this one has like the two criminals from Smallville, some other dude I recognize from the pilot of Buffy who got turned into a vampire, Danielle Fishel, for a cameo. Frankie Muniz from like Malcolm in the Middle, and that one dude from Cougar Town who was also in Easy A. And so, like, basically, the Sam character from Smallville, he's really scared of a lot of stuff, and his friends like pull pranks, and he doesn't like it. He wants to kind of get them back, but then all of a sudden, the counselor pulls a prank on them as well, as they're in a cabin with tons of cobwebs. Apparently, this cabin is like a spooky, ghostly type cabin, and they slept there to prove that, hey, nothing spooky about it, or some crap like that. And he's all like, well, since the camp counselor pranked us, we're gonna prank them back. And so they do. But then they start to get lost in the woods, and then all of a sudden they find a bunch of campers. Now there's a ghost story that a group of campers went missing back in the 60s. And so when they're with these campers, all of a sudden these campers keep calling them ghosts. But ghost is like a nickname for outsiders. So the camp counselor dude's like, look, you must be from our sister camp. I'll call them to make sure everything's okay. Y'all spend the night, eat some of our food, blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden, some weird stuff starts to happen. The dude from Cougar Town starts to freak out. It's all like, you're going to get trapped here. I want out, blah, 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 blah. But then one of the other teen counselors makes him stop. Then they capture him and put him in a cage. They free him, and then all of a sudden the truth comes out. The truth is they're the missing counselors, because the new kids was all like, why do these people have like 1960s slang and only know basketball players from 1960s and other crap like that? It turns out that back in the 1960s, a curse was put on the land. See, this was Native American land, and the camp people didn't know that when they put that there, and the Native American ghosts were pissed off. So they put a curse on them that they would vanish and go absolutely nowhere, only to return to the land of the living for 2 days so they can have fun. If they tell anybody what happened, then they will vanish forever. So They only had 2 days of like freedom. That was the price that, the counselor dude made with the ghost, to appease them. Well, the dude from Cougar Town's all like, screw everybody, I want out this place. And he starts chopping at like the tree. And the Native American ghosts don't like it when you mess with their land. And so he tells the new people, like, look, you got to leave here. We all have to get back to the cabin or we're all going to vanish. And you're okay because y'all not part of this, but like you can't tell nobody or we'll vanish forever. So they're trying to run back. The other people try to run back to the cabin, but then all of a sudden they disappear before they get there. And they stop the dude from like chopping away at the tree. Then all of a sudden, all kind of weird stuff starts to happen, and they're afraid they're gonna get trapped like the other people. Until Sam character fell, and you hear a Native American tell him, "Since you tried to save our tree, we're gonna let you and your friends go." Now the voice sounds very white, trying to do a Native American accent. Not only that, but when you see the Native Americans in the flashback, they're at a faraway distance. Why? Because they're played by white people. They couldn't even find no real Native Americans. And so they go back to the campsite and everything's like okay, and they don't tell what they saw because they don't want those people to vanish forever. I like this episode. It was really cool. It was really sad and tragic that these kids and these counselor people who did absolutely nothing wrong got cursed, all because whoever built that campsite there, pissed off the Native American ghost and everything. And these people, when they go into that void of nothingness, that's really what it is. They can't see in the void. There's nothing. It's like they're dead, and then they come alive like every like 2 days for like just like a year, and it's really tragic, man. So yeah, this episode had its ups and downs. In my opinion, it was a bit of an uneven mess. There was more downs than there was ups. But there are some episodes that are pretty cool. Now, like I said before, you can watch this on Tubi for free. Or if you want to go to Aaron Carson's YouTube page, you can. This is still on DVD, and you can buy it for $12 on Amazon and Walmart. If you get it at eBay, you're going to be paying twice the price and everything. Because you know how those vultures are. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.